Good morning and welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foster and I'm touching base with you as I do every day here on YouTube, Instagram most of the time, and Facebook sometime. Okay. And also those folks in LinkedIn. So what's going on, guys? How are you all doing today? It is Wednesday, it is Happy Hump Day. And guess what? 62 more days. Already, it's just 62 more days for election day. 62 more days. And so we gotta keep the momentum going. We gotta keep it growing. We gotta keep it sharing. There's still more to go. There's still people that need to know about Kamala Harris. There's still more people to reach. Let's get all in. It's campaign season has officially begun. We are now one day in after Labor Day. So I should say this is the second day in, because Labor Day is like the marker of campaign election season. So and I do believe in 2 days, some of the first ballots go out. So we're here, guys. We are here. In 2 days, ballots go out. Wow. Wow. Let's see who's in the building. First with the gold medal is Grand Abundance. Sorry. Aya, first of all. Aya saying Grand Abundance, Grand Rising, Ron and RLP community. And we have the silver goes to Hannah. Hannah's in the building. Good morning, Hannah. She's in the building. She says good morning to everybody. And Ron, RLP family. And the bronze goes to Jazzy. She says good morning, everyone. So she gets the bronze. And not last and not least, the wonderful Chrissy. Chrissy's Corner is in the building. How are you, my dearest? And G is in the building. Good morning, GR Houston Jack. And we have Adrian, New York City in the building. Good morning, Ron, and everyone listening and working. Yes, and we have Elise is in the morning. Good morning, Ron. She says, I miss you, Elise. I just wish you were like now down the block from me. I just want, there was yesterday, I was like, I miss Elise. Where's Elise? I need to I want to just go over to her house and just sit down and have tea. Anyway, so good to see you, Elise. And she says, good morning to everyone. And Mr. B is in the building. Yes, Mr. Brian Young Creative is in the building. How's everyone doing? Christy says, I'm hopping off soon to go to the games. Yes, she's going to the U.S. Open. And I heard, did anyone see the U.S. Open last night? See, I don't have Sports Channel. So I heard it was supposed to be a very good match last night. Does anyone know who won the U.S. Open match last night? It was supposed to be really good. So anyway, Chrissy, I'm jealous. I'm jealous, Chrissy. And Hannah says, good morning to G. I see Jazzy's in the building. She said, we have to lock it because this election is not in the bag by any means. I have heard some of the craziest things lately. I agree. It is not in the bag. We need to work. We need to work. Yes, indeed. And so anyway, so good to see everyone here. Also, remember, I did send out some invitations to our regular panel of folks on Wednesdays. We do water coolers and all that, water cooler Wednesdays. So welcome to Water Cooler Talk Wednesday. This is where we talk about anything and everything. Anything that the panel wants to talk about, anything that I want to talk about, or anything that the community wants to talk about in the chat. And just like this is the new format, if you want to come on, you can scan the QR code and it will take you straight to the link to come on. So, and that is pretty much for the community folks. I got to vet whoever shows up on this screen, but for the most part, everyone seems to be decent and in order. So all you have to do is scan that QR code on your TV, on your tablet. And if hopefully you're not using your phone, because unless you have two phones, you can scan the QR code But yes, so the QR code will take you straight to the link that will bring you on, and it will put you in the studio. And just because you're in the studio doesn't mean you're gonna come on. It just means that you're on the because it could be more people waiting to come online. So just make sure that but that's how you can do it. You can come on by scanning the QR code if you decide you want to come on later on at the end of our panel discussion as we talk and have a good time today. It is Hump Wednesday. It is Humpty Dumpty Wednesday. And it's the middle of the week. A lot is happening. I have to say though, New York could not be in a more better weather bubble. It's been beautiful since Saturday night, since late Saturday night. It's been beautiful. Sunday was like the day. And yes, last night was cool. Upstate, it was 48 degrees, 49 degrees upstate. It's been cool, sweater weather here in the Northeast. And I am thankful. However, it's supposed to get humid and warm this weekend. But I think our 90 days are behind us. Yeah. Yay. I can't not take the 90s. I know. The folks in Texas are like, Ron, that's nothing. That's a spring day in Texas. Because Lord knows they had a rough summer in Texas this year. And now they got rains, big rains yesterday in Texas, in Dallas area. Let's see here. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Elisa's laughing at me. Yeah, we could have tea and sit down on the porch. Jazzy says, I have to admit, I still don't understand the scoring in tennis. It's all about the love. It's like click, 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 shot, 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 and then it adds up, and then it's love. I think that's how it goes. Chrissy, you can probably give us more information on how to score tennis. I just know that it's like there's a match, they play the match, then they get a score for playing the match. So the match is, they add up the match, and then the next match happens, and then they add up the score, then that adds another, that becomes a 1 point, another point, and then they add up the score, and then if that person wins, it becomes 1 point, and then the accumulation of those points after all those matches is the score. Whew, did I say it right, Chrissy? If she's still here, I know she's on her way to the U.S. Open, which is very big here in New York. For those that a lot of folks come here to that big event out in Flushing, Queens. I see here Fifi's in the building. She says, "Good morning, Ron, and good morning, family." And I stay lost trying to watch. And Jazzy, yeah, it took me a while to learn how to understand tennis. My good buddy who was here this weekend, he is a tennis junkie, and so I learned from him. Um, I see here it says match set game. There we go. That's what for these Fifi. I think Fifi loves tennis. Yeah, Fifi I think knows a lot about tennis as well. How many tennis players are there in this community? I'm curious to know. I tried playing tennis, but it always seems like I'm playing golf when I play tennis because I keep hitting the ball way out of the park. I am not cool. I'm not a cool tennis player, so I gave it up. I thought it was equal to playing handball or paddleball. No, tennis takes a whole nother type of skill, and I do not have it. It was not my acquired sport. And let's see here. Oh, I see folks are coming in the studio. They're in the studio. Real Elise says she coached tennis when I taught high school. Get shut the front door. Let's let's bring on the coach. What's going on, coach? Hey, hey, Gwendolyn. But we got Elise on here. She is the coach. Tell us about your time coaching tennis. That is interesting. Can't hear you. Come on.
Mm,
Hey, turn those mics on.
Yeah, I know how that is. Actually, I was a pretty good coach when I did it.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, Elise, you are a woman of many things. You
But
are
that
a
was one of
woman
those
of
secrets.
many things. Just when I thought I knew you, you are like an onion. You just keep just or not no. Let's give you not an onion, a rose. Because
Thank
every
you.
time you keep pulling down, you just keep pulling the petals, and you get closer to the beauty of the scent of the beautiful rose. So you are just
I
yeah
I chuckled when you said love because when you say 15 love, that means the other person has 0.
yeah. Yeah, so it's like love. I used to sit there and I would sit there at when I would look at it on TV, and I'm like, I cannot figure out the scoring. And then my buddy took me through each match, scoring,
Right.
point, each match, scoring, point, each match, scoring, point, and then you
Yeah. When you have
win the
yeah.
game.
When you have deuce and when you have, advantage, all those things. You have to know all that language.
Yes, deuce, deuce. And could you since we do have a tennis coach in the building now, are you watching the US Open?
No, I haven't been watching this. I've been kind of off of most things.
Oh, okay. So here's a question though. Why is it that when you see them they hit the ball, you always hear
That
"Ah!"
a part is like it's them feeling like it gives them more power behind their hit, right? And if you think about it, a
Really?
lot of that the Williams sisters they used to do it a lot, and people used to get annoyed when they first
Oh,
started doing it
really?
and not only did they do those noises, but they also had the beads.
Yes, they had the bees. Remember the bees that they had in their hair?
But
They
it
had
really
the
is about
bees.
like when you hit. That's the power behind just the sound, just the power behind it.
I was like, "What is going on?" And every time they would hit the ball,
It's the power sound. It's the sound of like you hit it and it's just the sound that comes out from the force of you hitting it. You make and all of them have different sounds that they make.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Some
but
people don't make any sound.
and some don't, but it's become more common to make a sound.
Yes. Because I tell you, the Williams sisters used to do it all the time.
And Tom says, "Hey, Tom, good morning." He says, "The core engages and you grunt."
Yeah.
So, Gwendolyn, welcome aboard. What's going on in your world, my dearest?
I've been up very early. I'm planning for my tech disconnect, which is in December, so I have to get things done
Yes.
before then. So we've been putting out posts and what have you, so that it's already done when I'm like out.
Can
Straight Virgo behavior.
yes, you are a real Virgo. She is, and she wears it well.
My son is a Virgo.
She wears
So
her Virgo
Miss
badge.
Elise, you know.
Let's bring B
Virgos are
on. Brian is in the building. I see Brian's
wonderful
working
people.
over there. You got your that is interesting, Gwendolyn. But Gwendolyn, where can we find wait, is it public your project, the magazine thing you've been working on?
Oh yeah, it's public. Yeah,
Is
it's
it
public.
on your Instagram, or where is it
It
that we
is
can
it is on my Instagram, and it's in
okay.
my link tree. So yeah, so like if you go to Instagram, it's there.
Mhm.
Um
I'm going there
okay,
right
so
now.
as Ms. Elise knows, she has a Virgo sun. First of all, God bless you, because we are a handful. Like if there's
Who you
ever a
telling?
kid who's gonna push you a little bit and like question and have full on conversations about the parental structure and things, it is
All
the
the
Virgo child.
time. He was just here asking questions.
Yeah, so we gonna talk about some stuff, but I am always working on something and dreaming, and like I said, I keep a list of aspirations, and so in planning for third and fourth quarter, I thought, okay, I'm going to put my writing and whatever and my photography into a magazine for my clients to
Okay.
say, hey, here's the magazine with some tips and blah 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 blah. So finally, I shouldn't say finally, but finally got it done. Finally got it done.
We're in like I'm trying to find where it is, right? Oh, it's in here
Which one
somewhere.
is that? Because
This
I
is
have
your
a
link tree.
all right. So the well, that's my personal link tree. I
Oh,
have
you have
one
2
for
link
like
trees?
okay, so like I don't like the accusatory tone. Like I don't know
I'm
about
not
that tone, man. No, like yes, because there is Gwendolyn and then there is the business.
Yes, it's true. This is true.
You could
Hold
just
on.
are
Let me
you
go
on
to
Instagram?
I was
There's
on your
yeah.
Fire Bunny. I need to go to G, right? The G,
You can go to G photography.
G
Yeah, sure. You
photography.
can.
There we
I
go.
mean, like I don't like how he was like, "What you mean you have more than one?" Yes, yeah.
Yeah, it did have a kind of tone to it.
There was the tone. It was like, bruh, it's okay to have more than one. It's
This
perfectly
is true.
fine.
This is true. Here we
That's
go.
that Virgo.
You see.
That is straight Virgo behavior. So, like now, magazines, a photo magazine for a person's client is not new. Like they've been around for a while. I just hadn't done it for my clients. I didn't know how I really wanted to do it, and so I thought, okay, it's September. It'll be my 12-year anniversary in photography. So I thought, let me do what I want to do, and so I do it. It's going to be quarterly, but it has
This is so
tips and
cool.
ideas and what have you, and it's all my art. Perhaps in the future, I'd include somebody else because I'm more than happy to share the space. Like I'm not concerned about that because we don't all have the same customers. I'm not concerned about that. But yes, I finally got together and I'm already working on the winter because again, I got to get stuff done so that when I step away, I step away, and it's at least 2 weeks and maybe 3. But yeah. So
I
yeah.
mean, it even has the sound when you turn the page.
Yes. So it sounds like,
It,
I'll
it,
probably
it,
get a couple printed for myself and my top clients. Cause like if you want somebody who is always hiring you for work, they come back time and time again, you want them to have like a physical copy, but everybody else can just look at the digital copy, and it's fine. It works out.
Nice.
I love this shot here of the minister.
Yeah, Pastor Spears. I was like, it's like his eyes were watching God. I had all the he had a couple of people who were like, oh, that was Photoshop. It's like, no, that's not Photoshop. That is understanding lighting and how to use your equipment. So let's not go there, please.
And this is
We had a
real.
conversation.
Hello. she's making that very plain and clear.
Yeah,
But
it's
this
like,
is
no,
even
that's
better.
not Photoshop. I'm not big on editing like some people. Some people love to edit. That is not where I thrive. So I try to I shouldn't say try. I work to get my photos 80% done in camera. And then we do a little zhuzh, and then I am done. I'm not sitting at the computer for 3 and 4, 5 hours working on a photo. It's not that kind of life for me. So that's not where we thrive. No.
This is so beautiful and so well done.
Thank you.
I
So
was like, I got to share this because maybe it will also inspire other people. I mean, if they are into writing and creating like this requires a lot of time and a lot of imagination, a lot of discipline. I mean, this is, for the first, this is for the first one of doing this. This is your first one. It is incredible.
now
And
keep
I'm not
in
saying
mind,
that because
I've told you that you need to get your magazine together because when we had that conversation back in February, and I
we
know
did
we
have
had
this
that conversation.
conversation. Yes, we
We'll work
did.
on it. But my internship when I was in college, because I thought I wanted to be a magazine writer, was with LDB Interiors. Right. So it was a home magazine. And it was great. I enjoyed it, but I don't do well sitting still writing all day. So I was like, and no.
That's enough for you. Huh?
Good times. I love
you don't do good
parties.
sitting still, period.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I have a problem sitting still, period. Yes, that is true.
Gwendolyn, we gonna need to talk. I think I need a second Virgo behind me.
Oh, I got you, Miss Elise. I got you.
This is, but isn't that beautiful? It's on her G. You go. Hold on a second. Let me just take you guys back to the page. You can go straight to her link tree. Well, let's go straight. Go to her G photography by G. That's here, right? That's the Instagram page. And then right here, you'll see link tree. Click on the link tree, and it's right here. And it takes you in the second below. and it's right there. It is well done.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate
Bravo,
that.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
bravo, bravo. And I am when you dropped this, I was like, oh, this is what she's been working on in the dark.
I work on a lot of stuff. I got a lot of stuff going on over here.
I mean, this girl's more things going on than I don't know anyone like her. That's who makes her so special. So, Brian, what's going on, sir? What's happening in your world?
Oh, just I've been got to be quiet for next couple of days. I'm under the gun, getting some stuff together.
Oh, what are you working on? Or is it quiet?
Yeah.
Like no share.
Yeah. That's why I took those folders down and the images I had up there, but it just ask for prayers, because it's if I get this turned in and things go my way, it'll be a
big plus.
Yeah, it'll really help me out personally, professionally, and financially. And
without you can't get a worse combination. I should say a better combination than that.
Yeah. So I've been burning the candle at both ends, hearing it from my therapy team. Like just this morning, my therapist texted me, and I'm gonna have to forgo our in-person today, but it's required. So we're gonna do a Zoom for my session, which, in my opinion, and just a reminder for everyone, not to get all deep on my stuff, but that your mental health, your mental and emotional health, in my opinion, that is the foundation on which everything else in your life is built, even our political environment. But
yes.
For me, that's non-negotiable. So when I was like, hey, I'm under the gun on what I'm working on right now, and I've been going at it for the past couple of days over the weekend, and I got a deadline of tomorrow. And he said, okay, then went to the other questions that they often ask: how's your sleep? How's your food? And like,
yeah, you gotta balance. You gotta take care of yourself.
And with school starting, so last Thursday and yesterday was the first full day for Xavier, and he that's all I can say is that just proud, and parents or those that are in the position of pouring in the children. It's that cliche, where'd the time go? Because
it goes by fast.
Yeah, but on one lighter note, when I took him to school, I got to take a picture of this. I didn't realize, what do you call it? The billboards. There's a billboard right out here that has, I voted for Trump twice. I'm voting for Harris. And these are coming up. Mm-hmm. These are part of the campaign. They're putting these in battleground states, and even states that were once thought to be, an absolute no-win for the Democrats. Now they're in play, and the Harris Walls campaign has money to spend. And I didn't catch it until this morning when I'm like, because I just read an article about it. I'm like, I got to take a picture. I may not be as good as you guys, but I got to take a picture with the background and all my Harris Walls yard.
Now, are you seeing a lot of banners on the lawns in your area? Is it like there's an old cliche of you can tell how a candidate is doing by the banners on people's lawns.
Well, I've heard that too. Here's my opinion and my perspective based off of all the door knocking I've done.
Mm-hmm.
I think I overdid myself, because last week I've hit pause, but to me that doesn't apply in this election cycle because of all the doors that I knocked on last weekend, all the houses in the neighborhoods I went around. Yeah, I saw I saw visually, I saw a lot more Harris Wall signs. I saw a minimum number of orange signs, but it was the doors I knocked on. A lot more doors opened up, people saying that they were still gonna
Vote for the orange man.
yeah. So I would say
Interesting.
and to give you context, I'm in a more liberal leaning neighborhood. Neighbors across like this block has got Harris.
When you say stuff like this, it makes my stomach go.
That well to me it goes back to like don't like my thing. These two things can exist at the same time.
Wow.
I was on that high at a DNC, and then I went canvassing that weekend.
Took
like,
you out.
And it was
brought
like,
you back down to earth.
Yeah, like this race.
This is a real race.
It ain't over. So the yard signs, I'd say don't lean on how many you see, but I'd look at those, but my eye is like the ones that I don't see, but I know there are orange supporters behind those doors.
Elise, how are you guys doing in DC? How's the DC? I mean, obviously, it's more assumed that it's going to be blue. But do you hear people talk about the orange man, or do you hear people talk about Kamala? Is it what? I mean, what are your friends, neighbors? What are they talking about?
Well, the majority of my friends and neighbors, they're voting Harris, but
yeah,
I mean, we do have Republicans here.
Yes.
Yeah, we have some crazy people. We have people. I mean, I won't say that we have people who, for whatever reason, do that. That's a given. And when it comes to yard sign, I've never put a yard sign in my yard. Never. I've never put one out there, and it doesn't even matter if I supported the person. I just never put a sign out. I don't know. I'm just not that person. But I like walk around my neighborhood. We see them. Like we see Harris signs out there. But like you said, DC is a little different histories, and the Republicans don't want us to become a state.
Yes, very much.
They're afraid they'll have 2 more Democratic senators.
Yes, it is true. And I see Jelly says, which is why I want people to keep their foot on the gas. Gwendolyn, you are in Dallas, and that is a red state. How are you seeing? I mean, it's a secret purple state, to be quite honest.
Texas is purple.
And I will say Texas is a sleeping purple giant.
Yeah.
And because there's so many people that live in Texas that don't vote, which is horrific. Same thing in Louisiana, and Mississippi and Alabama. There are a lot of blue folks in those states, but they don't vote. And whether they're white or black.
You are. So your metropolitan cities, so your Dallas, your Houstons, your Austins, like those cities, San Antonio, there's a lot of blue there, which is why our governor acts the way he does when it comes to those areas, right? But Texas is huge. I mean, we got 2 time zones going on here. So the further out you get in your rural communities, then it's very red, and it does impact some races. But here, I got neighbors down the street who have always had their Trump stuff up, but we're like a mostly retired community. There's a couple of kids somewhere back in this neighborhood, but people don't put stuff out in their yard like that. I guess it's not what we do. So that one house is way down in the corner towards the back, and it's like back there. But everybody else is just, most of our neighborhoods are just, we don't put stuff out in our yards. I don't know if I know people still do it. We have seen a couple of videos. People have stolen people's signs, stuff like that. But I don't know if that's still the thing as it was years ago. It's just, I don't know if people still put stuff in their yard like that. It's just, it doesn't match the course. Like I don't do stickers. I mean, I don't do stickers on my car. I don't want that stuff anywhere. But also, I am that kid. So,
get you a bumper back.
Jews democracy, vote Harris. You got the bumper sticker and everything.
Cute. I mean, I would collect them, but it would never be anywhere where somebody could see it, because it's just
interesting.
For me, it's noise. But you know how I ride, Ron.
Yeah, you are.
I don't ride with.
You're a minimalist.
Minimalist.
I mean,
I can't tell about our neighborhood.
My cars have. I've had unfortunately, whenever I've had traffic stops. Like I did have an unfortunate incident a couple of weeks ago. I didn't share it with anybody, but usually my cars, I don't have any badges on it. I when I can, I take all the badging off, all the names and nomenclature off, because it's my designer eye. So any stickers or anything.
Yeah,
and when I saw this, I was like, and it was like, oh wait, it's a magnet.
I think you can take it off when you walk away from the car.
And then and my current car is like a really dark blue, so it kind of goes right with
it
that.
It blends right in. Here's a question as we change. I'm going to change the thought here. Is did you guys hear about Jimmy McCain becomes Democrat?
Yeah.
That was pretty. You know what I loved about this? Because one of the reasons I became a Republican was not so much a Reagan. It was really because of John McCain. I became a Republican because of John McCain, and my friends used to call me the Maverick because of John McCain. That was my thing as a political crazy person. And so my friends used to say, "Hey, you're like the Maverick because I'm going against the grain. The average black guy you would say is Democrat, but I was a Republican, but I love that John McCain didn't always go with the Republicans. He would sometimes go against the grain, and I would see the Republicans get pissed off because of him. And I was intrigued by John McCain and the way he conducted himself as a statesman, but also in the way he always put country before party. And for the most part, I would say, and that's pretty true about his life, is the country before party. And that's part of his legacy. So it was interesting yesterday seeing his son quote his dad and saying, "Dad always said, put country before the party." And now he is committed to, democracy in the country. What did you guys think of that? Lisa, you wanted to say something.
I was like, his father had a really good relationship with Teddy Kennedy too.
Yes.
One of the things that was there. And I think, I appreciate, we should appreciate.
And don't forget, he had a very good relationship with Joe Biden.
Absolutely. I guess he was like the more politicians that were willing to sit down and talk. That was how they worked. And I know you mentioned Reagan. I was like, I would have never voted for Reagan for anything, because I told my children Reagan was the grand wizard of the Ku Klux Klan.
He really was.
People didn't understand that.
Yes, I was a kid.
What that meant. But anyway,
I was a high school student. Don't blame me.
I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying, you still feeling the impacts of that Reagan era
his decisions,
politics now. Even the the things against workers' rights. Reagan and the whole thing he did with the airline.
Yeah, the airline. Remember that? And got rid of the unions and busted up the unions, and also public housing, and and supporting redlining and all. And then, he did a lot of damage to the Black community that I did not know when I was growing up. I just thought, he was the stronger of the two. The Republicans are weak, and yeah, I'm sorry, the Democrats. The Democrats were weak. They were always in trouble. They couldn't make up their minds. They were always fighting.
Which is always interesting to me. I know people say that. I think that people take the way you are as a weakness, and I think that's the part that bothers me when they are responsible. That party, the Democratic Party, has always had to clean up mess behind all of these people that they're so strong, and even with people talking about 45. It's like, he you don't understand anything that man has said. He hasn't completed a sentence. No. But he comes out and he's this and he's shooting from the hip. He's saying nothing.
He says nothing.
That's a perception people have. And I think that's the perception that goes around all the time. And I see it so often. I hear from people I know about the Democrats, and it's like, for people to want to have to put country before anything else, and to make sure that that everybody has something, everybody benefits in some way, whether we get everything we want, is considered weak in this country.
Yes.
I mean, with Ronald Reagan, he was fine in California for having open carry until the Panthers showed up at the State House. That's the first time NRA voted for some change. So, but the conversation is not about Reagan. But anyway, but when it comes to Jim McCain,
but Jimmy McCain
becoming a Democrat, I think that's great. And people becoming Democrats or saying they're voting for Kamala and Walz, I love that. But I also want them to make sure that they also show up and vote for the Senate and the House Democratic.
Yes.
Because we could very easily lose the Senate.
Yeah, it's very much in the favor of the Republicans to win the Senate.
Right. And we talking about, Jazzy talks about Maryland and how Hogan has come in and he's tied, and people look at that because so many people are living on his legacy of being controlled by Democratic state legislator, which they didn't pay attention. They didn't notice some of the things weren't happening there that he could have done because they were controlling that. And so, yes, we have that risk. But as he changed to Democrat, we're going to need him to vote for all the Democrats in the House and the Senate as well, whatever state he's in, so that we don't lose the Senate. We need to keep the House and the Senate. And that's what people need to understand. But I think that because you're seeing people with name recognition coming out, that's
especially in the Republican Party.
Yeah, and saying they're going to vote for Harris, that's a big plus. And then the billboard that Brian was talking about, I've been basically off of Instagram for the last 3-4 days. Okay. But I did see that billboard, and he says, he voted twice for Trump, and I'm a gun owner. But I'm voting for Harris this time. So that's important, and I think it's important that Walz says that he's a gun owner, so that they know it's not about taking your guns, because that's all they can say. You can't use that argument as much with this particular thing. And I think all those things are important. But I think unlike his sister, him coming out and saying something.
Jelly said, yes, she's still a little different.
Yes, she's still a little different.
She's always been different. She's always been coming different.
Out, because even after he trashed her father, she was not willing to say anything. But he is actually saying that my father would be more like this. My father would support that, and his father proved that's who he was.
His father was truly. That's why they called him the Maverick of the Senate, right. Because he really put country before party, and that I think that is something that we Americans have to begin to, for those, especially in those that were Republicans or still in the Republican Party, they need to put country before party. Here's something Kimmy says. What about Jasmine Crockett being named a co-chair of Kamala's campaign? What do you guys think about that?
I think one of the things that we sit in frustration in our house a lot, especially my children, my two younger children, because they talk about politics, is that you cannot sit. You have to have someone on your side and looking at strategies of the language to use, of things how to combat things, so that your voice is also heard as much as the noise on the other side.
Yes.
You have to have somebody that's willing to create some noise.
Yeah,
but not
I love her
in a negative way, and I think they need that energy.
And I think she's also closer to the pulse of younger people.
Right. Yeah.
So that's going to help her. That's going to help the party, because even though I forgot his name, Jamie, right? Jamie is the
Democratic person.
The guy that's in charge is also right. She's Jamie, right? Jamie is in charge, and he's young too, but he's a little older, and I think because he's been in politics a little longer, as in over the years, he's kind of lost some touch with the, with younger folks, and how even in some cases the Black community how they are connecting with this campaign. But obviously, they're doing a great job because, I mean, you can't get, I mean, he is the top person and they are doing very well. So,
yeah, and I think it's important what Jasmine said about her speech. I don't know if you saw the video that she talked about after her speech when she said at the DNC, when she said some of them tried to get her not to say certain things in her speech. And I was like, the fact that she said, I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
Is works as well, because you have to have someone that's willing to push the envelope a little bit. And I think that if you have a bunch of people who are sitting in a space and say, we have to, no, there's no longer that. It's like, you do have to push that envelope. You do have to turn up the heat. You can't sit back with your kitten gloves on and say, oh, well, no, you have to have someone who has some boxing gloves or can kickbox or whatever they're doing to come out and say, here it is, and you're going to listen and be that person. And also, one of the things that I also like is some of the media people who are challenging the media, the platforms that they work with.
Yes.
The mainstream media people who are putting the challenges out there and saying, hey, you are there. That is a dual system. And I think that you have to have they needed that energy from a Jasmine Crockett.
I agree. I agree.
I would give one, Jim McCain and Meghan McCain. To me, that taking politics out of it, to me that shows how, like with RFK Jr. and his siblings, like, just because they're siblings doesn't mean they always agree. And same thing on that front. But I give props to the upbringing, and he's I don't know if I believe.
He's an officer in the Navy.
Is he still in the military?
He's still in the military. He just came home. That's why he came home. He said he's some contemplating. He did some thinking and said he wanted to go public with this information.
That is huge. I long for the days when you can look at both candidates and you may not agree on for president, and you may not agree, but you see that they're decent people.
Yeah.
And when John McCain, when he stood up to that woman against
they call Obama. He's a Muslim. He's a Muslim.
To me, that showed I had much more respect.
I love John McCain.
outside of the fact, just the fact that this man was a POW, had a golden ticket
to go home
because of who his dad was.
His dad was an admiral, and
he said no. He endured torture, and that gives me goosebumps to think that the orange guy said he's not that is a hero. John McCain is a hero. And as far as Jasmine, I wanted to just give a shout out, not just to Jamie Harrelson, who's the head of the DNC, but I'm going to keep bringing up this name, David Plouffe, and it's like, let's not just know who are the Michael Jordans, but know who's like the second string coach or whatever, who may be really good. David Plouffe, he's one of the, he's not the only, but he's one of the chief architects of President Obama's his initial campaign. And after he helped get President Obama in office, he just kind of stepped away. And over the past several years, decades, countless Democrats have been hammering him like, hey, come back. And he's been like, no, I'm good. He will give advice every now and then, or maybe show up on a morning talk show every now and then, but he'd get back in the shadows. When this change at the top of the ticket, when I saw that they had gotten him, and subsequently he got others that were with him I was like, oh man. And why that matters, getting Jasmine Crockett, their guerrilla warfare tactics of social media. If you follow Kamala HQ Instagram, these cats, they ain't getting paid enough. They are
that what Jazzy said. They said the social content creators have their foot on mainstream media's neck.
Yes.
Fast checking them left and right. I mean, they are on the ball. I mean, it is interesting to see it. I love it. But hey, Dr. Tachi's in the building. Good morning, Dr. Tachi. She's in the building as well. But here's another thought. I mean, the national polls are all over the place. We see that Kamala is winning across the board nationally as an average. Pennsylvania is the go for. They need. Is this someone else talking? No,
that's my husband over here talking.
Oh, hi.
He was reading in the post paper where it's just also Brooks has gone up by 5 percentage points, so he was excited.
Tell your husband I said hi.
Right? Everyone said hi, Doug.
I hear a voice. I don't know where it's coming from.
It's real life. I got dogs barking. I'm muting. He's over here like,
I was hearing voices.
I know it. I didn't even think about it. He was talking. I was like,
but yeah, the national polls are really doing well. There's definitely a difference between when Biden was winning and now that Kamala is running. I should say when Biden was running and now Kamala is running. And however, it is they said that in many of the political science circles that Trump always polls less than he really is polling, because there's people that don't want to admit that they're going to vote for Trump. Or maybe it's their embarrassment of saying they're going to vote for Trump. Whatever the cases may be, people don't poll truthfully when it comes to Trump. So they were sharing about these different. So Carvel was saying that the Democrats have to always be 5 points higher. Then most people think, okay, that she's 3. If she's 3 points, she's good. She's 3 points ahead. But no, for Democrats, they have to always be in the 5-point range to be in what's called the comfortable range of that person's winning. So, yeah. Go ahead, Bree.
I heard James Carville. He's one I listen to, and that's one. Polls for me are
sometimes he be pissing me off, but he is a smart dude.
Yeah. The raging Cajun for a reason. But from my firsthand experience, did I share the one door I knocked on, the one house I knocked on?
Yes.
The wife came outside, almost startled me, but she was like, yes. You know,
get away.
Yeah, I answered, or I asked her the questions. I boom, checked her off, checked her son off. And she was like, I need you to basically go. I'm voting for Harris. I'm not letting my husband know. Her husband is a staunch Trump supporter. You know, and that firsthand experience for myself, multiply that by how many other households are potentially like that. Let's remind people, at the end of the day, it's you and your ballot if you are still going in there.
That's the only poll that matters, really.
And
pretty much.
I mean, like, listen, like I assume all of us collectively, we tell children, hey, listen, a little white lie is not good. Like, listen, I gave Xavier approval when my mom was here and recovering from her stroke and trying to take care of her when she made a meal that was bad. And Xavier, it's okay to lie to grandma on that
one. This would be a good time to lie.
This one, it's okay for those out there. If you're in a split household like that, in my opinion, like, dude, he or she, they are not going to be in the booth with you.
Yeah.
You vote according to your conscience and your self-interest. And the polls, I don't care what, if the polls say we're up by 20, I don't care. At this point, like I've said with others, it's like when I got ready for a race, when I ran track, I'm like, boop. Here's my goal. Boom. All this is white noise. I know my goal.
Kimmy says, Kimmy says here, she goes, after he won over Hillary, I think no one is comfortable about election night. Those reliable polls were wrong then for some reason, and still suspicious to me. Well, the polls have not been right for the last 5 years, 6 years. No, I say that, no, sorry, 10 years. So the polls have not been accurate for the last 10 years.
That goes down to, in my opinion, that's like pulling. That's a whole nother conversation. That's like pulling a loose thread on a sweater, because why have the polls been off or accurate within a meter? One, and Elise, I know y'all sisters can get to this. Gerrymandering, redistricting, making it hard, purging voter polls, and then on top of what you mentioned with, like, are people, when they're polled, are they answering truthfully? Also, what is the polling pool, and what are the questions? I can't remember if I shared this with you guys. I was contacted by Quinnipiac. I think a month or two. I don't know. All the time blends together, but I was shocked, and so I actually was polled, and I cannot remember how many of us I've heard, like, who are they polling? I never get called for a poll.
They never call me.
They never call me. If they do call, we're not answering.
The questions that are asked and how they are asked. So,
you can make things. You can make polls say anything. Exactly. Here's something. Jazzy says the voter information hotlines have had an increase in the question: can my husband find out who I voted for? Isn't that kind of creepy?
Well,
it
depends. I mean, well, creepy, yeah, but if you go into the dynamics of marriage, depending on how your marriage is set up and what you signed up for, you kind of already knew some of this stuff. I am not a trad wife. I think that's very clear. But my husband and I talk about everything. We don't agree on everything, but he's also not the person who's trying to make me live a certain way, and we don't vibe like that. Like he does his stuff, Gwendolyn does her stuff, but we talk about everything. Depending on the people, some of these people wanted a life, and I know this sounds awful. They wanted a life where they are that traditional wife who just does whatever the husband says. So I get it that, yes, now they're at a place with, hey, I'm already a second-class citizen, and now you're really trying to turn back the clock, and I'm not feeling that I want to stay where I am, and I don't want this for my kids or whomever else. And that could be part of the reason why they're asking that question. Creepy, I try not to judge other people's marriages because it's not my place, and everybody got their something. But, for those women who are in that spot that they have lived a certain life, and again, there are so many different variations of what a marriage should be at this point. Am I surprised by it? Not necessarily, because it's kind of what we saw on TV, like your Donna Reeds and your, Mrs. Beaver. What's her name? Cleveland? Was it Cleveland? I don't know.
Dennis the Menace and all the rest of them.
But it was the
there
whole
was a June Cleaver.
Yeah, right. It's like when your father gets home. So like you've had that programming your whole entire time. Home. And now you're at a place with, oh, wow, people got freedom. I can have freedom too. What? And so you get a little bit of that. But can I add my part about polling?
Yes.
One, it's like statistics. You can get whatever number you want to share, whatever story you want to craft, right? And the way you craft the story, if you go to the place of everything is so good, then you figure, oh, well, if I don't go out to vote, then it should still be okay. Or you make it seem like you're so down in the polls. What's the point of going out?
Yes.
Right? So for a lot of this stuff, especially mainstream media, you got to tune it out, as Brian says. Just tune it out. Like, I don't look at them numbers. Them numbers, they don't mean nothing. They mean nothing. At the end of the day, the message should be to all of our family, friends, and our network, you need to get out and do your part, no matter what the day is. Like, get out and do your part. Now, I know here in Texas, they have redistricted some people to the point where the place that they would vote is now 30 minutes away.
Right.
Which is why we say you get out, you vote early. Because I remember in 2020, we were lined up in 2020. People were like, we're not doing this again. So we need that kind of energy. And it's just a matter of tune out the noise, tune out all the, so-and-so is this and so-and-so. Like, tune that stuff out. It is there to get into your head. And it's not in the positive. It's to make you feel as if, what's the point?
And sometimes it's like if we put out there, and as Jazzy mentioned, you don't know who's doing the polls. Number one, you got to know where the polls are coming from. It's just like anything that comes out and said, "Oh, this thing over here is really great," but who did you poll and find out it was great?
Yeah.
And then the intent of it, right? Whether it's to say, well, she's up by 20 percentage points, I don't have to show up. Yeah, you do. You don't let that fool you. You have to show up.
Everyone
the part
should
is to
show
get
up.
you to be lulled into that. And I think that's the thing that you have to remember. And Gwendolyn brought up a point that the video I posted on my page about making a plan to vote for your voting, I made, make sure you check to find out if they move your polling place. Because they are moving people's polling places. So you need to make sure you check to find that out. Once you go into, I will vote or vote.gov, wherever you go to find out if you're registered, you need to also then follow up and find out, where do I go to vote based on where I live? Because as Gwendolyn said, there are people who have been moved 30 minutes away from where they vote. There's only, particularly if you look at how they showed the difference in Georgia, how the suburban white people were talking about how short their lines were. And they had these options to go, but in the Black communities, the lines were so long.
Yeah.
And so, excuse me, we have to take those things into account, that they are doing things, they are moving things around. Not, they're finding multiple ways of how to suppress suppress the vote or discourage people from voting.
It just angers me but it's again, the 30% of the country who have always been here, whether it's the 1700s, it's the 1800s, it's the 1900s, it's the 20, there's always that 30%, 39, 30% in that range that are always against democracy, always against people voting, always against people having rights, always about taking freedoms, always about getting in the way and breaking down and putting up walls for education, putting up walls because, hey, I don't think those people should get what I think I should be getting, or I can't get it, so why should they? It's always that 30 to 35, they say also 39%. This country's been that way from its founding, that there's always been a group against. But before, I just want to make sure people know, I put this up, I will vote, because I make sure we have to continue to put it on our platforms and continue to share it. We are halfway there, and we still got a lot to do between now and November 5th. The voting mail goes out for some of the voting starts on in 2 days. So the mailers are going out in 2 days in some places. So people need to know, are they on the rolls? They need to know. Go to I will vote, and it gives you everything right in this section right here. Check if you're registered to vote, where you're registered to vote, and the vote by mail. So all that is right here on this one website. So you can click on that, or you can go to the government website as well that Lise always talks about. So that's also important.
You can go to vote.gov.
Vote.gov.
I was going to say, be sure to include older family members who may not be as technology knowledgeable. And since we are down to the wire, this is something I've done just this weekend after talking with my siblings. Set a reminder. Set a reminder on your phone, like an alarm. I'm not saying don't be extreme, like I got to check every day to make sure that I'm on, I haven't been purged or a family member hasn't been purged. But maybe, like, dude, we're down to a couple of weeks. Like you said, in some states, less than that.
16 days for early voting in Pennsylvania. So it's the 20th.
16.
Here it's I think we're 20 something days away from the earliest we can do it here in Michigan. So just set, like, I don't know, maybe set a weekly reminder, or maybe every couple of days
in your family chats.
I know Jazzy put a question in there to Gwendolyn about busing. Let me tell you all something. I know most people are familiar with Marion Barry here in DC.
Yes.
I always tell people Marion Barry was probably was an amazing politician for getting the vote out. He furnished buses for people to get to the poll. He had volunteers that he made sure his volunteers were fed. He made sure all those things happened. And so when you have some places where you know that these things are going on, maybe there need to be some bus transportation and things that take people places, because that was one of the things that he did all the time. He made sure that if you didn't have a way to get there, well, he had people driving buses going to communities, making sure those people got to the poll. And the other part is looking at some statistics where they were showing the number of Black voters in different states. I was looking at that earlier today. There are millions and millions of Black people in these states and all too often, so many of them are not voting. So many of them are not registered. Like I said, I know, 4 or 5 people in the state of Texas, Black people in the state of Texas, who haven't voted in the state of Texas, and they've been there for years. And I was like, this is crazy. I keep wanting to get their phone numbers. I keep telling my husband to get these phone numbers, because I'm gonna find out why are we not voting? What's your issue? And you have until October 7th to get registered. But anyway, I think that's the part that we also have to emphasize, that when you have over 600,000 Black voters, Black eligible voters in the state of Louisiana who did not show up to vote, these people need to show up. If the people who did not show up, the problem with Hillary Clinton when they were talking about voting, so part of it was people who didn't show up to vote. I can tell you, I like this person, but if I don't show up to vote for that person, I need you to not just like them, I need you to show up. And that was a problem. And, for Hillary, 2 weeks before the election was actually to take place, all of a sudden they got Comey to come out again and talk about those emails. That's the sabotage stuff that they use that changes everything at the end of the day.
And something's going to come out. They're working. They said yesterday, the Republican Party, well, the mega Republican Party, said yesterday they can do people are not voting for Trump because he's reached his ceiling. There's nowhere else he can go. I mean, there's only people that are going to leave him. He can't go beyond. So, and there are people that are disgusted with him. His image is so bad that the Republican Party has already made, and they declared this yesterday, they can do nothing about it. So what they're going to do is try every smear game and try to tear down Kamala's reputation on every level. They are going to go after her on every single anything. They probably go back to when she was 3 years old in the crib. This is what she did when she was in the crib. Wherever they are going out. They said yesterday they cannot win on character between the two candidates.
But they can win on character assassination.
But they can only win on character assassination.
But I think that's why I appreciate the people who are sitting on the mainstream media platforms right now who are saying to their colleagues, we're doing an unjust job. We're doing a job that's biased. That they're actually calling out their networks, they're calling out their colleagues and putting that out there. And then you have to have that follow-up has to be everyone just flooding the system with the things that have been accomplished, the things that the actual policies that she will implement. And I heard a guy, I went through TikTok, and there was this Asian guy. Somebody asked him about the capital, I think it's the capital gains tax.
This capital gains thing has just been everywhere this last week.
He did a great explanation, though. He explained what it meant. He said, let me tell you, that is only going to impact you if you make over $100 million. He said, I'm not worried because I don't make $100 million. He said, if I made $100 million, I still wouldn't worry because I'd be rich. And so,
but these are the things people,
but people have to understand the manipulation of the 1%.
Yes,
it's always get you to make you believe that it's impacting you when all it's doing is impacting them. It's not impacting you whatsoever. That's not going to impact you because you don't make $100 million or in excess of $100 million.
Well, the same thing with the tax break. All these poor people thought they got a tax break. They didn't get a tax break. It was only for the rich.
And then they started wondering, like, man, I get this in my check is there, and I did the part that always got me. I want people to hear this well. If you're sitting there saying, "Oh, my return used to be more," when you ask for them to take out, not to take out as much for your check, remember that your return was higher because they were overtaxing you. So now you're no longer, the whole point of the tax system is to get it as close to break even as possible.
And break even.
So you may have to pay $100 or something, but that's not the fault of Democrats. It's not the Democratic fault. This is not them. The tax code, that same tax code is still in place that you're talking about. The rich people don't want it to change in 2025. They don't want it. They want to change, and they know it will change under the Harris administration. And understand that I don't think any of us in this chat, in this group right now listening, and I definitely don't think any of us on the four faces on here, we're not making that kind of money. It's not going to impact us.
Not yet.
I'm making that kind of money.
And I'm not going to vote. I'm not going to vote against
You get a car.
Right. I'm not going to vote against my well-being so rich people can continue to keep all their billions and trillions of dollars. I'm not doing that.
Can I, like, on that strike, that makes my neck twitch. And I go back to, I'm almost finished with this book, this audio book that I keep mentioning, the Trump tapes. That's the name of it. That's why I said his name. And after this, I'll go wash my mouth out. but it's Bob Woodward's. It's audio only. It's his interviews with the former president from before he or after he came down the escalator, throughout his term in office, and phone calls, interviews during COVID, during George Floyd, and this reminds me of the section or the two interviews he had after George Floyd's murder, and Bob Woodward said, "Hey, can you know, we sit here as two privileged white men. You know, Bob Woodward said, we all know who your dad was and how you came to be." And Bob Woodward even put himself out there saying, "Hey, he came from a good upbringing. He came like financially secure, and as white also." So he said, "Can you understand? Can you understand why some African Americans are frustrated? Not saying that the looting and rioting is right, but can you understand?" And my point in bringing this up to the taxes and the money question, his response to that, and we got to figure out some, like, a time frame. Maybe I could hold audio. We could play clips and then talk about it from his audio book. But
excuse me. Wait a minute. You do have a platform.
Oh, well, yeah.
I mean, we could do it here too, but you do have a platform. So I'm trying to encourage you to start stepping up and doing your platform. But anyway,
I'm doing everything within.
There's that tone again.
Yeah, I hear you. And but this goes back to my mental health and my emotional health is my foundation. The one thing I've learned since my post-suicide attempt is that if I can't do something, I'm not going to put myself out there. So that's why I may come across inconsistency on some things, but I'm protecting my calmness. But I will park with this and stuff. But his response wasn't about the empathy of Black folks. His response was, "But Bob, tell me, just wait. When this COVID gets over, they're going to be making more money and more jobs." And he kept repeating that. And at the end of each interview section, Bob gives his notes, and he said, and on that he said, he doesn't think this man has any empathy. He only registers things in money. And here's my point. At some point, I hope that at some point, it's not about money for any of us. It's about morals. And I fall on my sword on that.
Well, you know that
I passed over a great opportunity that was very financially profitable for me a couple of years ago from a colleague. His design firm wanted me to come back and do some work, but they approached me after the murder of George Floyd, and after I protested and I posted something, and he said, "Why don't you go back to your own country?" Ever since that, and then his team reached out to me with a great offer that had a comma and a lot of zeros. I was like, no, my morals are more important to me than money. And
But you
that's
know,
what
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying though about the
Yeah.
morals, but we have to face it. We have to face the reality, especially when you see so many. There's so many people that voting for the orange man. You know that the moral question for a lot of people is not even a thought. The morality question, the question of wrong and right has been diluted, or in a lot of cases has been just taken away in the mindset of most people in so many ways. So, but anyway, I gotta let you guys
Can I add
go.
on to that before you go?
Go ahead, my dear.
Okay, so speaking to the morals and the money, and you and I had this chat yesterday that on TikTok, people were clearly okay with committing a very clear crime of check fraud, right?
Yeah.
You had somebody on TikTok got these folks to believe that doing this was a glitch or a hack to get money. But yet and still, we can't get those same people to believe that their vote matters and impacts their life, and that this guy who is a felon is not fit for office. There's a lot of work to be done, right?
A lot of work.
But Americans, for some people, it is about, at this point, a shortcut. How do I get this imaginary million? Because we've always had this life of the rich and famous, and to be privileged, and to just, pretty much cheat somebody out of something. And we all know it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to. So we have a long way to go there. But to get back to morals and like our politicians actually working for us versus just switching the party when they don't win their primary. Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of work to be done.
Another district or something.
Absolutely. They do it all the time. But I think when Brian was talking about what he said about Woodward said about 45, right? If you've ever watched Criminal Minds, there are people who legitimately who are so narcissistic that they don't have the capacity to do it. And they don't care about anything or anyone except for them and their gratification. And that's all this is. And constantly, if there's a serious question asked of this man, he always end up talking about himself. He never answers the question that these people, even people who follow him, talk about. And what is he saying about you? Has he come out and said anything about the black man that's suing because he was called a slave? No. But you have people out here.
My African. That's my African over there.
That's my slave. The man said they call him a slave.
That's my African American.
No, he doesn't even say that. He just says my black. But I think that we have to understand the mental capacity that people have and understand that he's never going to care about anyone. He wants to stay out of jail. He wants
That's the whole reason why he's running, y'all.
He's willing to do and say whatever he needs to do and say, and try to fool people about on abortion. Yeah, they're gonna do all kinds of things. So we need to understand that, and I think that's the piece that people miss. He is where he is and how he is mentally and who he is. That's his core. His core is I don't care, and the only person that's important in all of this is me. And you all vote for me. And he's already said he ran for. His statement was he wanted to run as a Republican because they were not smart people when it came to.
That's right. That's what he said, quote unquote. Okay, guys, we're out. But guys, make sure that there is if you want to get some good information. I always I want to push this today. Roland Martin's page, I think, is really informative. I learned so much from, because he gives it from the Black perspective and also people of color, and they give you a lot of legislation and history and a lot of panel conversations. So check that out. Roland Martin, I think, is a really good platform for that, and it's always been intriguing for the last since this race has begun. Has been quite informative for me, and so check that out. And also, there was one more thing. Sunday. If you live in New York City, we are having a get together. And so we're going to be meeting at 2:00 at Fancy Fence or something. I think it's Fancy Fence. I'm still working on that. Hold on a second. Let me put it in here. Let me see if I still have it. Hold on a second. I'll know in a moment where it is. Okay, it's not there. Okay. Yes, Fancy. I think it's Fancy Fence. I'll have all the details, but it's at 2:00. It's here in Fort Greene. I've sent some of the folks as personal invitations, but I'll send a blanket one for everyone by the end of the day. And if you're in New York City, you're more than welcome to come. Omar was like, I'm coming to New York and I want to see everybody, whoever can make it. So I said, I got you, bro. I got you. And so he's going to be here. And there's a bunch of other photographers he wanted to connect with. So I reached out to them. I'm reaching out to them. And also, if there's folks that live here in an area in Brooklyn, in Manhattan, Queens, you can get to Brooklyn. It's an easy location to get to. 2 train stop there. So you got the G train, the A train, the C train. And you can walk over from the Atlantic Terminal, which is the 2345 QRND trains. So it's a good place that everybody can get to. So we're all gonna hang out. It's a beautiful restaurant here in Clinton Hill, right there. And I'll get all that detailed information. But we're gonna have a great time on Sunday at 2:00. It'll be like a late brunch and just chat it up. And then if we want to, after, walk over down to Fort Greene Park. It's right next door to Spike Lee's shop. So it's just good to just enjoy Brooklyn. And for those that want to hang out with us. So, and the Long Island Railroad is right exactly not too far from there as well. So it'll be on Lafayette, Fulton, and South Oxford. It's like, we call it the triangle, Fowler Square Triangle, and Fowler Park. So we're right there. So if you want to come on out. And if you're in New York City. And I think that's it. So Gwendolyn, when can people find you?
GR Houston Jack on YouTube, Black Power Bunny on Instagram.
Elise, where can people find you?
Elise, ALIEZE _ on Instagram.
And Brian, before you speak, I want to say, if I love that idea, I'm just teasing you, but I would, if you want to do the conversation about the Wood
his audiobook,
I think it would be a great idea. You could do it on Friday. If you want to do it, because it'd be good. I think it would be great.
I think
it'd be great. I'm just teasing. I know your platform is about Zen. Not politics. This is the political arena, so definitely you got full reign, sir. But anyway, where can people find you, B?
The Brian Young Creative, BRYAN, on Instagram and YouTube and social medias, except for Twitter. Never X. Mama named it Twitter. I'm calling it Twitter, but I'm not. I don't use that. No.
And you all know where to find me. I am here on Touch Base Daily here on YouTube every day. And for those that are tuning in on Instagram, you have a better experience. We still come on Instagram so that way you can enjoy, but mainly so that way you can switch over to YouTube because you get a better experience on YouTube. So come on over to YouTube and subscribe, share, and tell your friends about what we do here, because it's about building community. We have a beautiful community. But we can add more voices and people into the community. So that would be great as well. And guys, let's keep voting. Let's keep sharing. There we go. Thank you. Let's use our platforms. Let's use our voices. If it's put on a T-shirt, if it's wearing have the bumper sticker like Mr. B, whatever it takes, let's get it out there. There she goes.
I just have my vote shirt on.
She got her vote shirt on. Let's do it.
It covers everybody. The V has banned books. Because the fist, the uterus, and wow. Yes, everything is represented on here.
I was looking for a shirt when I was before the shots rang out at the Eastern Parkway. I was looking for a vendor for a shirt. Well, that did not happen. So I'm still looking for a great shirt to wear because I have never worn a political shirt in my life. So I am going to wear one for Kamala. And so Kamala and Walt. So I'm on the hunt. I'm on the hunt for a good t-shirt. So I'm gonna find one that speaks my personality.
Mhm.
I
And
may have.
Right.
so I'm going to share that. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining. Tomorrow is our Thursday. Is our Trend Watch Thursday. We're gonna go dive deeper into politics tomorrow. There's a lot going on and polling and stuff. So we'll talk more about that. But mainly is if you have any ideas of how people, if you come in with more information on how people can vote, what's going on, their calendars, we'll talk about some of that. Who's voting next, who's coming up, getting to the polls. So we'll talk a lot about that tomorrow. And guys, let's do this. So guys, happy hump day. Have a great day. And I will, what do we do? What do we do? We we live life like we mean it. And guess what? And we focus on what matters. So I'll see you guys. Take care. See ya tomorrow. Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Elise. Thank you, Gwendolyn. Thank you, Brian. I love y'all. Where would I be without you? And I'm out of here, guys. Love ya.